In this video, I'm going to show you 4 completely insane watches that are going to test you and your love for watches. So let's get started. It does not matter if you have been into watches for 5 minutes or 50 years. I'm sure all of you had at least one moment where you looked at a watch and your first thought was like, what the is going on here? I had the exact thought when I looked at each of the 4 watches today, and I want you to challenge yourself to see how strong your nerves are. The first watch of today is from Moser. The Swiss manufacturer is well known for its sleek and elegant dress watches, but perfectly true to their slogan, very rare, they have released a watch that is definitely going to raise some brows. At least it did so with mine. When seeing the flying hours, what the hell is going on here is probably the first but definitely not the last question one has when looking at this dial. The stunning fumé dial in the so-called color funky blue sits within a perfectly polished 42mm white gold case. I myself am a big fan of color gradients, and the gradient from light to dark really kind of leads your eyes to the main reason why this watch is in this video today. Inspired by the planetary layout and together with its affiliated brand Odlance, Moser developed a very cool form of the so-called wandering hours complication. In a triangular layout, 3 hour discs sit on the dial whilst rotating on their own axis, thanks to their planetary gears, which are mounted on star wheels. Right above all 3 hour discs sits an additional sapphire disc with an underlying black disc, which displays the minute marks from 0 to 60 in a 240-degree radius. And that is also where the genius of this watch lies. Because instead of letting the hours wander, other manufacturers like AP did, ironically with this one, the minutes fly around. But one question remains. How the hell do you tell the time with this watch? Some might have already noticed that either 1 or 2 of the 12 digits at a time show up on a white background. So the white underlying digit indicates the hour, and the little tip of the triangle points at the current minute. So when the hour is over, the 0 position on the minute disc flies over to the subsequent hour. I think the easiest way to understand this watch is to look at a time lapse. The Flying Hours is powered by a modified in-house caliber 806 with an automatic bidirectional winding mechanism with a power reserve of 72 hours. And right now you can buy this watch for around $32,000. I love how this watch challenges you each time you look at it, because telling the time with this one is definitely not the easiest thing, but I imagine you kind of get used to it when wearing it. I am not sure how, but I think it would have been cool if they had added a seconds hands to the dial to give it more movement. But all in all, I think this is a fantastic but also really crazy looking watch, and I look forward to more watches like that from Moser. The next watch on this list really earned its spot, and by the end of this you will exactly know why. The Chronoswiss Flying Regulator Open Gear ReSec ElectricBlue is not only a mouthful but also a bit overwhelming when looking at it. The amazing thing about this watch is that function and design are directly merging right in front of your eyes. Usually the regulator, which is separating the minute from the hour display, would be hiding behind the dial disc. But on this watch, the movement has been built in a way, and the dial partially skeletonized, that the regulator is not only showing but also operating as the hour display. That is also why this watch is called Open Gear, making the regulator the focus of the design of the watch. But that is not all, and you can see what I mean when looking at the bottom part of the dial. There you can see the reason for the retrograde second in the name of this watch. Stretching from 4 to 8 o'clock, we can see a small seconds display that is not like the others. Instead of going around in a boring old circle, this second sits on a 120-degree curved display, going from 0 to 30 and then immediately jumping back to 0 again. It's completely unnecessary, but definitely fun to look at. Given all that is going on with this watch, I think it was really brave to also include that wavy dial design. This wavy pattern is called gouache, was refined by hand, and also serves as a module plate for the train bridge with its skeletonized gear wheels. I was surprised to find out that inside of this sits the caliber C301, which is actually a modified ETA 2895, and I really like the creative approach from Chronoswiss, as the retrograde second is something they have added to the movement. This blue monster has also a power reserve of 42 hours and measures 44 millimeters in diameter. For good measure, Chronoswiss has also thrown in a blue alligator leather strap to make sure that you will definitely attract attention with this piece no matter what, costing you $9,900 US. And what I really like here is exactly what I was missing on the Flying Hours. With all the movement and the added colors, blue is one of my favorites, this watch is just really fun to look at and a great starter for all kinds of conversations. With the next watch, we are leaving the dressier part of this world and enter full-on murder weapon territory. Omega first released a Ploprof in the 70s, and it was meant for professional divers who wish to return to the surface of the water, ideally alive. That is also where the name comes from, as it is short for the French word plongeur professionnel, which translates to professional diver. And back in the day, the 600-meter water resistance was a unique selling point, but that was only the beginning for the Ploprof. The current Ploprof model boasts a 1,200-meter water resistance, and that is not even the craziest part of the watch. It's a bit sad that the current model is no longer made from one solid block of steel, as this one has a screwed-on case back, but I guess the fact that this is making the watch easier to service makes it a good enough reason to do so. The Ploprof measures, and please brace yourself for this one, 55 millimeters in diameter, has a height of 17.5 millimeters, and tops it all off with a lug width of 24 millimeters. So you cannot only use it as a dive watch, but also as an additional dive weight, or as I said, a murder weapon to kill someone. But this $9,400 US watch is not just crazy because it is so big. There are two technical details that are as crazy and cool as they are genius in my opinion. What looks like a crown with a chastity belt on the side of the Ploprof is not actually the crown, but a nut bolt that is securely screwing down the actual crown inside itself. So to reveal the crown, or to unlock it, you first have to unscrew the nut bolt. And secondly, there is a rather weird looking orange peg on the side, which does remind me of these Pets dispenser. But this peg is unfortunately not a Pets dispenser, but actually a pusher to unlock the bezel. Thanks to this bezel lock system, the bezel stays safely in place, which makes the most important feature on a professional diver absolutely foolproof in this Omega. As to be expected, Omega also delivered a very well made dial that is easy to read with a little bit of a 70s vibe sprinkled on it, given the unusually orange details on the dial. I really like that even though the dial and hour markers are both white, it still has enough depth in it to give the dial enough dimension to not make it look boring. Within the Ploprof ticks the coaxial caliber 8912 with a 42-hour power reserve. Both barrels inside are extremely durable due to their DLC coating, matching the rough outside to an equally tough inside. All in all, the Ploprof is a crazy combination of all the things Omega is really good at. You have a solid case design, a clean dial, great use of color and reliable technology. But it is also ridiculously oversized and awkward to the point that just really makes me love it. Last but not least, I want to show you a watch that is skeletonized to the point where it is actually making me feel uncomfortable. The Endevour Excalibur Aventador S does not only sound like it, but it really is a Lambo. Together with Lamborghini, RD created a 45mm watch equivalent that is equally as amazing and obnoxious as an actual Lamborghini Aventador is. I mean, Lamborghinis as well as this watch are definitely not something for every day, but as you only live once, I can definitely see why some would just go for the SMC carbon case Superwatch. Through a sapphire crystal, we get to see a completely skeletonized dial that shows the almost blasphemously designed hand-wound caliber RD103 SQ. Hiding behind a plate that is inspired by the look of the insides of the supercar sits the barrel. Additionally, at 5 and 10 o'clock, you can see two balance wheels, which seem to kind of float inside the caliber in a 45-degree angle, mimicking the wheels on a car. Both beat with a frequency of 4 Hz, making this caliber extremely precise and robust. The indexes are rhodium plated, filled with bright white superluminova. As to be expected, the hands are made from 18 karat gold with a yellow color transfer on it. But it does not stop here. On a watch like this, it would be a crime not to look at the back of the case. We get to see the amazing backside of the movement, including the Poisson de Genève, which acknowledges the high-end quality inside and outside of the watch, and all the rest of the amazing inner life of the Excalibur Aventador S. In this caliber, RD has included also a jumping second to emphasize on the ultimate precision of this caliber, so it would match the car with a 40-hour power reserve and a water resistance of 50 meters. This watch is definitely not for the faint of heart, especially given its price of $185,000 US. But I have to say that I absolutely respect them for taking these supercar themes so literal and then going all out on this. Okay, so those were my 4 watches that are definitely going to test you and your taste for watches. Let me know which of the 4 did you like best and what was the craziest watch you have seen in person that have made you question everything. Let me know in the comments down below and I will see you in my next video. Bye.